Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another Monday night here at Proficiency Bonus as we continue on our ever-present quest towards the Tomb of Annihilation. I am your most benevolent DM, Matthew, if I could speak. Luckily, today I remembered to unmute myself as we jump into what we think is episode 60. Unfortunately, the DM got his numbers confused, and now Twitch and YouTube don't match, but we're going to take care of that and figure it out at some point. Before we jump into what happened last time, a couple of quick shout-outs. Thank you to Team MZ. They do a lot of support for small streamers like us. Many-sided dice, the wonderful Magic Items Compendium, Lost Artifacts of Greygast, and some new stuff going on here. Oh, Streamlabs software we're using to broadcast this to you right now. Before we get too far into things, though, I want to give a quick reminder to people that we have a new stream coming up very soon, Tabletop Legends. It's going to be starting to stream April 2nd, which is a Tuesday here. And actually, Sarah, do you remember what time they're starting at? Is it 7 or 8?
Ooh, I don't know.
Oh,
I will look it up.
I don't have it wrote down in front of me at the moment, but you can follow them. They are on Facebook. I think they're on Twitter. They have a YouTube channel already with a couple of hysterical ads on there. Or promos, I should say, not ads, but definitely check it out. It's a lot of fun. You can also see them. The @Prof Bonus Twitter tag is throwing out links to their stuff as you go through as well. So with that being said, we'll jump headfirst into what happened last time, as our party has been
7 p.m. Sorry.
Oh, 7 p.m.
Eastern.
7 p.m. Eastern for Tabletop Legends on Tuesdays. Don't forget all our other shows, Mystic Hour, well, I still call them the Hell or High Water Deep Crew, even though that campaign's on a little bit of a hiatus, but they've got Brood and Wish running on Wednesdays, Mystic Hour and Delve and Dash on Thursdays, Storm King on Friday, Insight Check on Sunday, and I have to give a special shout out to Curse of Strahd, which we've got our DM Sarah is here, as well as a couple of our players, as their next episode is going to be, well, I'm hoping it's going to be a little special. It's episode 13. So
now
we
I
may
gotta
get some.
do something.
They better do something. They're running a vampire-themed campaign. I can't skip out on 13.
You're all gonna die.
Cool. All right. It's
Mummy Lords. I'm just going to throw that out there.
gosh.
Mummy Lords. As some of our players here, they remember that. So, with that being said, our party had made their way after listening to Fanthaza without a second thought, being led down as potential slaves into the Fane of the Night Serpent, and advised how they could get to a couple of different ways that they could try to get to their target, the leader Raz Nasai. After battling their way through, facing a Hydra, eventually a couple of giant apes get involved and they end up going to battle with him, only to have him be completely confused as to why they're attacking him and having no clue what this cube is they're talking about. The party then starts to think, maybe that Fanthaza chick wasn't being on the up and up with us. Did anyone think to try to figure out if she was being honest or not? And no, they just said, sure, let's go with it. Sounds fun. So, two of our party, Devaney and Quen, proceeded to accept aid from Nasai to be teleported into Fanthasa's chamber,
Thanks for telling us, guys, and bringing us along.
without telling the rest of the party.
You're a stone!
I wouldn't be if you guys told me and brought me along.
Not true.
As Devaney went in and let Quen know, Quen turned, didn't see anybody handy, so just followed suit, as Solana was left as Solarin had run away. And Solana was left dealing with a particularly nasty little creature, as well as a couple of the Yuan-Ti. Now, the nasty little bugger that she was sort of fighting with
They're almost cute.
was a basilisk. As it made eye contact with her, she felt a stiffness creep over her, and she has since been turned to stone after getting one final scream out that she needed help which Solarin heard. Unbeknownst to our 4 current adventurers, there was another individual being held within Fane at this point, who, due to all the racket and disturbance going on, was able to make good her escape. Well, almost. As Paddle starts leaving the prison and moving south, seeing signs of life in different rooms and trying to best avoid everyone, eventually ends up at the very entranceway near the river where our initial group of 4 adventurers entered. But as Paddle went to open a door to the north after not hearing anything, proceeded to run into a Yuan-Ti champion with a large number of zombies. As Paddle ducked out of the way and hid, they didn't seem to notice them until some more entered from the south, answering the alarm bell. Paddle quickly threw some rope into the air, climbed up into a little pocket dimension, and is currently chilling, while all of these Yuan-Ti seeming to have no idea where they've gone.
Good.
And that's where we pick up this week's session.
Not good.
Solarin, we come to you in the initiative order. You have just heard Solana scream from up to the north that she needed help, and then, strange enough, it was cut short, and now there's silence.
So Solarin hears Solana scream from around the corner, and he bolts out, and he spots the first basilisk, and I'm going to target it with...
Well, as you charge forward and you see, as you look into that room to your left, you see the basilisk is walking away from you slowly. The animalistic Yuan-Ti is walking off slightly to the north, and you can see Raz Nasai, or in the distance. Actually, what you would see is, because I don't think you've seen him yet. I don't think you were one of the first ones up there that saw him in the chamber. So what you're seeing is literally half man, half snake. The lower body of a snake coils down about 8 or 9 feet off behind him. The upper body is heavily bandaged. The face, bandaged, almost looks mummified. And just a very impressive looking sword resting lightly in his hand, pointed down into the ground. He is currently looking down the hallway away from you. It doesn't seem like anyone's really noticed you at the moment from that area.
Alright, so Solarin, he rounds the corner, and he sees Raz Nasai and the basilisk, and he spots Solana, and sees that she was turned to stone. So he turns around, and he targets the basilisk in the back with Eldritch Blast.
Okay, so go ahead and make your attack roll. And that will hit. Go ahead and roll some damage. Oh, very nice. And you get a second shot with that, right?
Yeah, I'll target the same basilisk.
Okay.
Wow.
That'll hit as well. Okay. As both of those slam into him, you watch it sort of almost stumble forward a little bit just out of surprise. And then the head starts whipping around trying to figure out where it's coming from. Anything else you're doing?
No, that's it.
Okay. That will bring us over to Fanthasa, who is currently over here and is going to start going down. Actually, can't go that way because of that. It's going to end up burning back a little bit. Okay, so she ends up right about there. It's fun, unbeknownst to our players, but so our viewers at home who just saw me doing random things on the map will have an idea. But that ends up running forward a little bit, seeing something she's really not sure of, so is turning back and heading back a different direction. And that will bring us over to Quen. So Quen, right now you are standing sort of centralized in, well, the half of the room you have access to. Just feeling the cold chill of this massive, thick wall of ice. As this swirling humanoid form made of nothing but air is whipping at the hair and your clothes.
Gosh, this thing is horrifying. So Quen's gonna look at this and, he's just gonna like, what does this thing sound like? It's just like wind?
Yeah, at this point it sounds like if you've ever been, like if you've ever stepped outside during a hurricane or a very strong windstorm, it's that sort of just a constant swirling around the room. It's almost deafening given the tight constraints that you guys are in. This is a massive creature compared to you've only got basically, you're standing basically within its parts of its body as this wind is just swirling around you.
Quen is like, he's like cool at windbag and he's gonna cast banishment on it.
Alrighty then. That is a charisma saving throw, which is not one of the strong points. And what's your DC?
14.
Okay. So as Devaney, as you hear Quen call this out, as quickly as it had swirled out of the vase or urn, you watch as the storm just dissipates and vanishes.
Can I tell whether or not if it went back to its home plane?
So, given your background being you're not from prime material yourself, it's gone back to the elemental plane of air. As long as you don't lose concentration on the spell in the next minute, it will remain there.
Cool.
If you drop concentration, pops back up right where it was.
Dang.
Yeah, don't do that. It gets you in trouble.
Okay.
Because, yeah, if the spell ends before the 1 minute pass, the target reappears in the space. So right now it's back home and it's happy. If you bring it back, probably won't be.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you're doing?
No.
Okay, so that'll bring us over to Paddle.
Oh boy. Okay. Peeking out from where he is, and there's nobody nearby, I'm guessing. Not that I can see.
So, as you peek out and sort of stick your head out of the opening, go ahead and make a perception check for me. Too far down.
Oh my god. Oops. Wow. That was horrible, but okay.
Okay. It's not so horrible that you didn't get what you needed. So, you don't, as you stick your head out, you don't hear anyone coming from that western path, the path you came out of, where all the others seem to have wandered off. You do still hear voices coming from that southern, basically from where you are.
That little snake off
that
path.
little snake off down to the south.
Yeah. Okay.
But at the same point as you're listening, they are not coming closer.
Okay. All right. Oh boy! All right, I'm going to pop out of the pocket dimension and hop over to one of the boats and cut it loose.
Okay, easy enough to do.
Alright, I'm going to try and start floating it down the passageway, but is there any way I can like do some sort of check to hear if there's anything abnormal up that path?
Sure, go ahead and make another perception check for me.
5-6. Come on, let's do some. Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah, you don't really hear anything. You can hear like the faint sounds of just water sort of splishing against the cavern walls.
Is paddling?
Yes.
Okay, just make sure.
Paddle would have to paddle.
With a paddle or just by paddling?
This is bound to happen.
I'm gonna get up as far up I can into the water until like I can't like really walk anymore, and I'm going to push the boat out in front of me and see how far it goes and if anybody notices.
Okay, so you can get about 10, maybe 15 feet into the we'll call it a river before it starts to get up near paddle's throat. So as you give the boat a good shove, go ahead and make a strength check for me.
Oh,
Okay.
not save. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. So it's basically it seems to sail forward about 10, 15 feet in front of you, then slowly comes to a stop. It doesn't really seem like there's much of a current to the river, but as you sit there, 4, 5, 6 seconds, you don't notice anything immediately.
All right. I guess I'm gonna like kind of like hold on to the side of it and just kind of like kick my way around, keeping close to the wall.
Okay, easy enough to do. So as you end up using the rest of your movement just to slowly, what we'll say is for mechanical purposes, because you're sort of using the boat, when you're moving through, you can use your full movement in the water.
Okay.
And that'll bring us over to
Maybe like something like that. I don't know.
Raz Nasai, who has just now heard the basilisk sort of start snarling and yipping after getting blasted in the behind. And as he turns and sees... come on, roll 20. Sorry, bounce me all the way up to I have no idea what he sees from where he is. Okay, so yeah, so he can see you. So as he turns and sees you there pointing out at the basilisk, he just sort of looks at you and says, "Aren't you with the others? Is this how you honor the ceasefire?"
You petrified my friend.
That is not in my capability to do. And if it was done, it was done before your two friends went after Fenthasa.
How do I know I can believe you?
Insight check. Think we should be the entire time.
He just sort of looks at you. You shot my pet and you're still alive.
Yeah, I'll make an insight check now.
Okay, go ahead and make your check. You don't hear Devaney, you don't see Quen. Solana's a statue. This guy just, something doesn't feel right. He's very hard to read. That'll bring us to Devaney, is that he's not making any outward attack at you, although you do see his hand is still gripping the pommel of that sword. That brings us to Devaney.
Devaney smooths out her hair and tries. This is like dried blood everywhere now. And she's going to snap her fingers and resummon Avolta. And instead of summoning Avolta beside her, she's going to summon Avolta on the other side of the ice wall.
Okay.
because I don't have to see where I resummon him. And I would like to ask, what's the state of the two people that were there that aren't anymore? Or is even, I'm not even sure if Finthaza is on the other side. I just want to know what he sees.
Okay, so as Avalta appears on the other side of this ice wall, the first thing you get back from Avalta is there are two somewhat seriously injured creatures, but they're not dead. And there's only two. The door's open.
Okay. Gwen? I do believe Fantaza left, and there are two creatures on the other side of this ice wall that I probably squished, but they're not dead. So if I let this wall down, they might attack us or they might run away. I don't know.
We can take them either way.
I don't know, I'm not doing that hot for health, but I mean, I could try to take them out. Or we could just leave them squished and hope that cold just, turns them to ice or something. And how long does that air thing stay away?
1 minute.
Oh boy. Well, I guess we have some time.
Well, we can't go back to Rosnasai's room, can we?
Oh, let's wait a bit. Maybe they'll get more chilled, and I'll let the wall down.
Sounds good.
Okay, so speaking of that, we come to the group of them. So do me a favor, click on your wall of ice for me. Because I can't remember their that's specific. I think it's 2d6, right?
5d6 cold damage once the wall is gone. So I think that's what you were using.
Yeah, so, and what was the save to dodge it?
I think it was a Constitution saving throw.
Okay, just give me a second here. I'm just.
Half damage.
Okay,
on
so it was
successful
5d6 is what we were using. Okay,
Yeah.
so Constitution save. Stop bouncing everywhere, roll 20. Okay. Let me find our. Okay. Now we got our T, Constitution saves coming right up. Con 1. Tells me that fails. I think it's a 15 for the wall. What's the DC on your ring?
17.
Oh yes, they both fail epically. So go ahead and roll your 5d6. Okay. Alrighty then. That will bring us over to unfortunately our lovely statue at the moment. So, Solana, what exactly? We didn't get a chance to really go over it last time. What exactly does Solana look like as she's turned into the statue?
Basilisk, the middle finger. No. We can't show one thing, so she's probably going to go like this.
So, Solana, that's what you saw when you turned that corner. That'll bring us to the air elemental, who's also gone.
Great.
And back to... wait a minute, where is... Okay, nope, that's... Right, they go... They were supposed to go back that. Oops. Well, DM screwed up, so the Basilisk didn't get a chance to attack Solaren because, you know, he forgot that he deleted the ones that were at 5. So Solaren, you got lucky. We're back to you, though, is, Raz Nasai has just told you that Devaney and Quen have chased after Fanthasa.
So this Basilisk that's in front of me, did it turn around after I attacked it, or is it still...
When you attacked, it started and it's looking around. Doesn't seem like it's got a bead on you as of yet, though.
Okay.
It's hard to say whether or not, looking at it's hard to say where Nasai has just told you that there's a ceasefire, but you don't know if this creature is necessarily, now that you've poked the bear, you don't necessarily know if he's going to be able to call this thing off again. It's hard to say. Likewise, you don't... What happens if you poke his dog again?
Well, first, Solaren is just gonna move back beyond this corner a little bit just to get out of Raz Nasai's line of sight. So he takes a look at Solana, and seeing her petrified, he targets the Basilisk again with Eldritch Blast.
Okay. That'll hit.
Alright.
It is
And,
still on its feet.
Alright, yeah, I'll target again with the second blast.
You always seem to do better on the second one. That'll hit too.
Yeah. 6.
And that is literally exactly what you needed.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Okay. So as 2 more blasts go off from the river, and you hear the snarl as this thing just falls to the ground. And all of a sudden you can hear more words getting shouted back and forth in that sort of half draconic, half common tongue. Anything else you'd be doing? You've got a little bit of movement left, potential bonus action.
I will just move a little further down the river here, and that'll be it.
Okay. So as you're getting a little closer down that end, just grab here for us. As let's see. Really? Never mind. That is just a duplicate number that we read from the other end. Oh. DM was unprepared. Sorry about that, folks. Like, wait a minute. I don't remember there being another number. Yeah, so you are good. That brings us back to Fanthasa, who is going to, after seeing that... No, I don't want to click there. Is going to run her way this way, and gets to about right there. And that'll bring us over to Quen.
So this ice wall is still up, and Adam.
Yeah, it's still up, still about 5 feet thick. Now, it might be possible to climb over the top of it. It's going to be a little tight squeeze at the top, but you might be able to climb over it and drop down on the other side.
The last time I looked in Fanthaza's room, I wasn't able to find a puzzle cube. So I guess I'll look again, because I think I rolled really poorly that time.
Sure, go ahead and make an investigation check.
Took all the
Ooh.
pillows.
Okay. So as you're literally ripping through everything, you remember actually Quinn was in the room when you cast the ice wall, right? Or no? Okay. Yeah, so as you're rummaging through it, Quinn, you don't find anything. I mean, you found the pillows, you found I can't remember that one other nice item she had hidden away that you grabbed.
A quiver of some sort, I think.
Yeah, it was a fancy quiver.
Yeah, it was a quiver with the star maps on it. That's right. So you found that. There's nothing else in here that you can see.
And the urn.
Well, yeah, the urn's fallen over. The urn's empty now. Definitely saw to that.
Stupid urn.
Oops.
And you sort of, look down, peer into the urn. It's dark in it, but you don't, sort of give it a little heave-ho to get rolling a little bit because it's a massive stone urn. You don't hear anything moving around inside it either.
Rock on.
Okay. So that will bring us over to Paddle, who is currently paddling.
Yes.
So are you just continuing down along the river?
Yeah, I'm gonna use my full 30, I think it's, yeah. Movement, just gonna go up, oops, I'm on the wrong thing here.
I'm still scrolling down. There we go.
Here. With the boat kind of in front of me right
Okay.
now.
So, and as you're moving down, as you're getting a little closer, you do see that there appears to be a path off to the right.
Hmm.
Can't see
Can I-
too far into it, but
Can I hear anything from up over that way or no?
go ahead and make a perception. Or what's your passive perception?
16!
Okay, go ahead and make a perception check.
Oh!
There is some lovely splishing of the water against the canoe and the little kicks of your
Yeah.
feet as you're moving along. Every once in a while, you think you hear something coming up from the north, but it's very distant. It's really impossible to tell what it's just.
Mm-hmm.
You can hear something occasionally, but it's not a consistent, ongoing thing.
Okay.
That will bring us.
That's all I got.
Well, you can use your action to dash if you want to.
I don't wanna.
Okay, no worries. So that'll
I'm
bring us over
scared.
to him. So, Solaren, I'm going to ask you to do this. Go ahead and roll me a D100.
Okay.
We are going to see, and actually I'm going to avert my eyes for a moment. We're going to go.
It's been
Okay.
rolled.
Well, that's unfortunate.
That's not
Okay,
good.
just on my scrap. Okay, so viewers at home can see my hideous handwriting. Odds, ATT for attack, evens, hold. So luckily for Solaren, Roz is still playing the waiting game. You do notice, though, as the room that he was in isn't overly bright, you can now see a glowing source of a yellow-orange light emanating from within the room. And that'll bring us to Devonay.
Stephanie is going to have another chat with Volta and see if those
Okay.
snake people are
So as
more
we
squishy
jump
or not.
back up top here, so that is too far. There we go. Okay, so as Devonay reaches back out telepathically to Avalta, Avalta is able to advise you that out of those two individuals, one of them is no longer moving. She also mentions that a somewhat familiar dark-skinned woman just ran by the door, heading to the right.
Oh, that is interesting. Well, Quinn, can we put up with one of them?
Let's do it.
Needing some action here.
I'm itching.
Okay, and I'm going to drop concentration on the wall of ice.
Okay. So as you drop concentration, so we'll call that your... is it a bonus action to talk to a vault, or is it an action to reach out?
It's telepathic
Okay, so we'll call...
talking, so I'm not sure that would count.
Yeah. So for this point where you've already done a lot at this point for within your 6 seconds, we'll call that a bonus action. You've got movement and action left. And as you drop concentration, you can see the shattered remnants of a chest and one very wet, cold-looking snake thing looking at you with hatred in its face.
It is still breathing. I would like to go and
Oh yeah, it's still breathing. It looks...
attempt to not make it not breathing.
Put it down.
Oh, that's the politest way I've heard someone say that. Yeah, I know. Okay, so this is Devaney's attempt to make this thing no longer breathing. Let's go ahead and start swinging at it. That'll hit. Okay, it is still on its feet. It's looking real rough, though. It's... Yeah, that'll do it. I don't even think you need to. Yeah. So as Devaney comes running forward, as this thing is, you couldn't really see any blood when you dropped the wall. As it had just sort of been you could see that it was bruised and beat, but you didn't see a lot of blood coming out of it. With those two swipes, though, it starts just bleeding all over the floor. You managed to carve through it easily. And it falls to the ground.
The amount of blood Devaney has on her already, she doesn't bat an eye. I'm going to make sure I'm not standing in front of the doorway now that the ice wall is down, and have my eye on that shattered remnants of chest.
Okay. That will bring us to these folks again, and I've forgotten about the... Well, we'll see where people end up. I'll just keep track of how far they can move. Okay, so that'll bring us back. Fauna, Arrow, and Bentel. Okay, back to our crazy warlock up north. Who you can now see this sort of... And it's weird, it puts you in mind of... You had seen the sort of flickering green light from the torches throughout the couple of rooms you've been in here. But this is... This glow, it seems to be almost overpowering those. And it's coming from around the corner from where you are.
Can I try to investigate it without actually entering the chamber, just like walking up to the shore?
Well, you can try to, you'd have to... So you're trying to peer around the corner without being seen?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and make a stealth check for me first.
Okay.
Oh, you're one that I gotta find. Okay. Okay, and go ahead and make a perception check for me. Okay, it's as you start to peer your head around the corner, and just barely as you crane your head around, you make direct eye contact with Nasai, and immediately just pull your head right back. Just that, that half thing. Crap, he saw me. You really didn't get a good look at what was causing the light in that. Just the fact that as you sort of turned and peered around the corner, he was looking for you at that point. Just happened to hit that exact spot. Anything else you'd be trying to do?
I'll just cast Blade Ward on myself and just stay right here.
Okay. So that will bring us back over to you, who is going to Okay, and that'll bring us back to Quen.
So Devonay, what should we do?
We need to leave. Also check out that chest, or what is left. I think there might have been something important in there.
I look for the chest and investigate its contents.
Okay. So it really doesn't take much for you to investigate it, as it has been completely shattered, being crushed by this wall that Devonay has thrown up. So as you're looking at, there are just gold coins all over the floor. Also looking at it, there is looks to be a very nice dagger in a gold scabbard embossed with the scene of stampeding jungle creatures. As you're looking at it, sort of in your mind comparing it to Bookmark, doesn't really look like it's designed for combat. You're guessing probably ceremonial purposes or sacrificial purposes.
Finder's fee. I put it in the bag of holding.
And that is it. But then, as I said, there are a whole bunch of gold coins all over the floor from different part of the, whatchamacallits, different little shreds of wood and things in it, but... Anything else you'd be doing? Movement?
I want to move to the door and peek out, like, into the hallway, and what do I see?
So as you move to the door and stick your head out the doorway and you look both ways, you see a hallway. Off to your, as you look to your left, you see what looks to be a raised table or some sort of other structure there. And then as you look to the right, you can see a large opening, like the hallway ends and opens up into a larger area.
Oh, Quen, Avalta said he saw what he thinks is Phantaza running to the right.
Sorry, from your angle to the left.
Oh, to the whatever direction it is, that way.
That's right. I get confused. I'm looking at the map and it's that way, but you guys are looking down, so it would be left for you guys.
Yeah.
She seemed to run past the door like she had gone one direction and now is running back the other direction.
Gotcha. Do I have time to cast a spell?
What are you trying to cast?
Invisibility.
Sure.
We cast invisibility and have one more level 2 spell slot left.
So as you watch out the door, Devonay, as Quen starts to vanish.
Tell me which direction you go.
I'm gonna try and follow her, and then I move towards the end of the hallway.
As you hear as Quen starts trailing off to the left, your knowledge of the arcane, you have a momentary panic. As the wind in the room starts to pick back up. As the air elemental is released from its banishment, as it is a concentration spell, as is invisibility. And as Quen has vanished off, heading towards the directions you told her about Phantaza, you are now face to face with an air elemental once more.
Alright.
There we go.
I feel like this just happened on Friday.
And I did say don't drop concentration on that thing, but oh well.
And that'll bring us down to paddle. Well, actually, before we jump to paddle, let me just let you know, Quen, as you entered into that room, as you're moving forward, much like what Paddle saw when Paddle was going the other direction, getting out of this neck of the woods, you see there's an altar in front of you. It's just covered in old dried blood. There are shackles at the top and bottom of it. There are small niches carved into the side that looks like blood runs down through it. Each niche has a human skull embedded in it. And then it allows the blood to spilled to drain away down into the walls to the southern part of the room. Looks like you have found their sacrificial chamber.
Gross. Thanks.
And that will bring us back to Raz Nasai. Solana, do me a favor. Roll me a D100. Feel bad, I gotta get Solana involved here. We don't know if Devaney is gonna make it out of that room, so.
Sorry, did we skip me by accident? Or...
Oh, yeah. Yes, I'm sorry, we did, because I gave the description. Thank you, Paddle, for reminding me. Okay, and thank you for the roll. We'll keep that, Solana, because that's going to benefit the party. Okay, back down south. Nope, don't be. That's DM's mistake.
I'm just playing in the wave pool. It's okay.
So, Paddle, we're back down south with you as you are still continuing to head along the river.
To paddle. All right. Yep. I'm gonna go over. Let's see. That'll work
Back down south.
for now. I'm gonna go over to here, keeping the boat kind of in front of me. And can I just like say, can I retcon this and say that like the whole time I've been like paddling along, my like beehive that I keep with me is in the boat?
Sure.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna dock here, I guess, and then pull my hive out and kind of sneak up a little bit. No, because that's my full movement. I guess I would have to stay there unless I dash.
Yeah, you'd be able to dash, and sorry, I'm just recycling because I
Yeah.
hit the wrong button. I meant to forgot to tell you before.
Yeah, I'll use my dash to go right here.
Do you know how to do that in Roll20?
What?
I just sent you a message in Roll20.
Nope.
Okay, okay. Because that's, to what you said, yes, it's just finite. It's an actual thing, it's not arcane. Sorry, folks, okay. Let's see. Answer to your earlier question. Forgot to do that beforehand. Okay, so you get in that close, and as you start looking in, grab that now. Okay. As you sort of start peering around the corner into that opening, you can see the passage widens into a cavern filled with different fungi. Toadstools, puffballs, other tuberous growths covering the walls, the floor. It's just everywhere in there. On the far back wall, though, you see a somewhat malformed skeleton is hanging chained to the wall. As it's chained there, with a slight covering of this sort of yellowish, buttery colored mold, you catch a little bit of a flicker of a brass key hanging around its neck.
Okay.
Something to keep in mind for next time. And that will bring us back over to Raz as you have actioned and dashed to get there. And Raz, thanks to a lucky roll from our petrified druid, is still in a holding pattern, but is going to do something once I get the right layer taken care of. Okay. And that will bring us over to Devaney, who has just had a... All of a sudden, the wind starts whipping up in the room with you, and again, it's that constant spinning in front of you.
Devaney's booking it out of the room. She doesn't care if it's gonna try to hit her or what. She's leaving. And going the same way as Quen is.
Okay. So as you are running away, it is definitely going to take a swipe at you. Nope, come on. Go. That is a 10, so I don't think that's going to do it.
Oh. That's a good thing, though.
Okay. You've got, so you're about 15 feet. You got, what, about 10, 15 feet left?
Yeah, so Devaney cannot see Quen, obviously.
Correct.
So she is going to go into this room. Well, actually, she could only... 15 feet would be right on Quen, right?
Well,
So,
right, but you could sort of try to
could I
duck
make
around
it
the
around?
corner to the south if you wanted to. But I'm going
Yeah,
to say as
I
you're
would-
charging into the room, go ahead and roll a D100 for me. Because Quen is right in front there, and you got a chance you're...
I deserve it.
you managed to miss.
somehow.
I gave you 50-50 odds. Above a 50, you were safe. Below a 50, you hit, so...
Alright,
Okay, so you managed to duck in,
that...
and Quen, all of a sudden you just feel Devaney sprinting past you. And ducking around the corner a little bit.
Quen just goes, oops, sorry. What's magic? Am I right?
Devaney's like, I don't know.
How does magic work?
Okay, so
I don't see Vendetta anywhere, obviously.
No, you don't. You can see that there is a... As you're both looking in this room, and I apologize when I meant to mention this earlier, across the room you guys can see what looks to be like a barred, almost like a prison cell, or a prison room. The bars are most of the way down, but it looks like there's a space of about like 2, maybe 2.5 feet that they weren't closed all the way down. You also see, and Devaney, you'd be able to see this a little better as you've moved a little south from where Quen is. There is a door to the north that's currently closed.
Alright,
So you've got action, bonus action.
could I
left.
take the hide action?
You can certainly try. Go ahead and make a stealth check for me. Okay. And that will bring us over to this group of individuals who, at the moment, there are none that are currently involved in any of the ongoings here. Okay. That'll bring us back over to the air elemental. I'm just gonna jot something down. Actually, no, we'll just make it easy. Okay, Solana, do me a favor, roll a D2. I'm gonna off that center knot. Okay, so it goes out the door and turns left. So it is going to use its full movement.
It's left or it goes west for the
No,
map?
it's coming out the door and turning left.
Okay.
So it's heading towards you guys. And it has a 90-foot movement speed. So it is coming full into the room. It does not see Quen or Devaney at first. So as it takes off past you guys, if you want it, you've got an attack of opportunity against it.
I think I'll just keep hiding.
Quen is like ducking his limbs in and like trying to just let this thing pass over and through.
Let's see. 20, 30, yeah, so we can get into there. Okay, so you watch as it flies literally through the room past you guys, and again, you feel that same sort of unsettling sensation as the wind just picks up and starts. Devaney, your hair is all over the place again. Quen as well. Clothes are getting whipped around. It's uncomfortable. You watch as it glides right through the bars into the prison room, and as it moves around a little bit, circling, and then you watch as it slowly makes its way back out into the room you're in. Seemingly, it still has not noticed you. And that will bring us back to Solaren.
So
Pull
there's
back
still
against the wall, just that statue of
Yeah.
Solana ducked down, hands in front of her face.
and there's still no indication of any movement towards
No,
me
you-
from Rosnasai.
No, you can see the lights flickering. You still see that sort of glowing yellow-orange light. But as it stands right now, even with you attacking and murdering that basilisk, there has been no outward sign of hostility from Raz Nasai towards you as of yet. Although he was staring at you when you ducked your head around the corner, so...
I don't know. Alright. So, Solaren is just gonna step slightly around the corner just to get line of sight on Rosnasai, or try to find Rosnasai.
And he's not there anymore.
Oh,
As you turn and you step there and you look, you don't see him.
alright. In that case, Solaren sees the empty chamber, and he's just gonna retreat back to where he was in this corner.
Okay.
And yeah, I'll stop there.
Okay, so that will bring us back over to Fanthasa again, who is... Oh, I'm just double checking here. Okay. Let's see. And then... Okay, so... Quen and Devaney, what is your... actually, no, do me a favor, make a perception check, both of you, with disadvantage, as there is currently a pretty nasty windstorm wandering around in the room with you. Bad. Devaney, you are doing everything you can to make yourself as small and tiny. You can't hear anything. That air elemental showing up is just sort of messing with you a little bit.
Drat, Glaive, why do you have to be so big?
Quen, you can hear voices coming from the north. Can't make out what they're saying, but you can hear there is something going on north and through that north door. And with that, we will end her go. And that'll bring us along to Quen.
Ooh, okay. I'm just gonna try and just tell Devaney as much as I can. I'm just gonna whisper to Devaney, the hallway to the north. and then I'm gonna move towards there.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead and make a perception check. Same thing with disadvantage. Actually, I'll say still with disadvantage, just given how much noise there is in the room right now. Okay. Quinn, you think that Devaney might have heard some of it. You're not sure how much she got, though.
Uh-huh. Is this door closed or open?
That door is currently closed.
Closed. Okay. How is it closed? Like, what kind of a door is? Do I just push on it to open it, or?
It has a handle on it. You can check and see. Well, easy enough to look at it real quick. You don't see hinges on this side, so you get the impression that it opens into the room.
Okay. I'm gonna try and push it open with using the sounds of the windstorm to kind of disguise it. And look in.
So as you start to, and so you're literally just opening it at a crack, or how much are you trying to open this?
I'm slowly opening it.
Oh, okay. So as you start to slowly open the door, immediately as you get it open about an inch, you see Fenthasa. In front of Fenthasa, manacled on the ground, you see a rather odd looking creature. It is... Oh, let me see if I have one already in here to show you what you see. Of course not. Okay, give me a second here. Grab us a token for my new friend that Quan is just about to meet. There we go. Close out. So, Quen, what you end up seeing...
This Wyatt. What is it?
Oh man, why did I put it on that? Hold on, switch it over to the token there so I can actually show everybody, including our viewers at home. As you know. Okay. Come on. Looks to be a large... Looks sort of like an amphibious lizard.
I want one.
But it is... It almost looks like it's burning, or almost like it's on fire.
That's pretty cool.
Pretty chill.
We could have one of those as a pet.
Another
Currently
pet.
It is chained on the ground in front of Fenthasa. And as you start to push on the door a little bit more, you can see that there are other Yanti in the room as well. And they're surrounding as you push it open. Go ahead and make a stealth check with advantage for me where you're invisible. Okay, as you get the door about halfway open again, sort of matching it, and you watch as these individuals in the room are listening to the sounds of the storm. As you get it about halfway and you see some sort of strange glowing basin in the back of the room, as all of a sudden you hear footsteps rapidly approach from the right and the door gets pushed.
Shut.
Yeah, somebody's coming up and pushing on it. You can fight it or you can let it close.
I'll let it close.
So they just come in and push the door shut. Again, with your stealth check, thinking it's nothing more than the wind.
Love that.
But you now know that at least you saw at least Fenthasa another Yanti that you could see. This strange stone basin. I'm going to call it a fire lizard because right now you're not 100% sure what it is. And then all of a sudden, somebody you couldn't see slammed the door shut.
Dang. Okay.
And with that, we will find our way back to Paddle, who is currently off the boat and next to in a sort of offshoot tunnel that ends in a mushroom and fungus-filled room with a weird sort of mal-shaped skeleton. But the skeleton's got a ring on its key on the necklace.
Can I see if it... Can I try to determine how it died?
You'd have to go right up to it. You can go up in front of it and make a medicine check. From this sort of distance, though, there'd be no way for you to be able to tell.
Okay. Where is it?
So as you're looking into that room, it is literally in this furthest back nook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's literally, as you're sort of turning that corner, you can sort of see it's a little dark, it's hard to tell, but again, every once in a while as you're looking, you get that slight almost flash of that brass key hanging around the neck.
Okay, I guess before I do that, then I'm going to try something. I'm gonna move up here. I'm gonna toss my hand axe at it and see if there's any not so nice fun guys down there.
Oh, okay. So go ahead and make an attack roll. Just D20 plus your dex.
Dex, okay.
Okay. So, easy enough, you throw it through and it just whoof, 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 slams into the rib cage of this thing. You hear a couple of bones crack and a little bit of the mold that was covering the bones, so like it, almost like you threw it into what was it called? Those little white flowers that everybody, when you're kids, pick up and blow on. You get a little bit of a poof of some of the mold comes out. There you go. Thought the dandelions were the gold things.
Okay, I guess I'll go more forward and see if I can grab it.
Okay. Okay, so as you are starting to enter into the area, you notice all of a sudden from the ceiling above you,
Uh-huh.
a couple of small at first, drips of a green liquid.
Oh, no. Nope.
And then, as all of a sudden, a large, seemingly blob of just green starts to descend. I need you to go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So as it slams down, you manage to dive forward and rolling just out of the way. There is now a large pool of this sort of sizzling green liquid on the ground right behind where you were standing.
That's the worst place for it to be. Okay.
And as you're looking at the ground, you can see as some of the toadstools and the fungus that was on the ground, you can watch as it seems to be getting slowly dissolved by this liquid.
Okay. Cool. So you said it's in between me and the exit?
Yeah, it hit the ground right there, so it's not literally a massive, it's splattered onto the ground, so you could probably sort of wiggle your way around it if you're careful.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that. Did I grab the key or no?
You hadn't yet. This happened right as you walked in.
Okay.
So you can still go in. You've still got a little bit on, let's say, 5, 10, 15, 20. Now, it'd be about 25 feet, so you wouldn't be able to get out of the room necessarily this round, because it would be your action to grab the key off of the corpse, but...
Okay. So yeah, I guess action grab the key.
Oh, okay.
And then movement to see if I can get as far as I did. How far? How far did I move forward? Like 10, 15?
Let's see, 5, 10, 15. So you're about 20 feet right now. So
Okay.
it'd be 25 to get over to the body. And then once you're moving, your movement's 30 for the...
Yeah.
So yeah, so basically you can get over to the body and back to where you are now with your full movement. And then are you just reaching over and just ripping the key off the neck, or as you saw this, as you're getting close to it now, you can see there is mold covering this body.
If I can, yeah. Just grabbing it.
Oh, okay. So reach out, grab the key. As you rip the key off, easy enough, it comes right off. As you're holding the key and you look down at your hand is now covered in that sort of yellowish, strange feeling mold.
Ooh, fun. Okay. Guess I'm kind of stuck here then.
And, fortunately for the moment.
Yeah.
And that will bring us back up to Raz. Do me a favor, Solana, and roll another D100. Actually, this time roll 2. As it's been, Come on, roll 20.
$38 and a 51.
Oh, okay. Oh. That is interesting. Okay. That'll bring us back to Devon A. So, Devon A, you are currently ducked against a wall. For some unbeknownst reason, this thing didn't see you. I'm still working that one out. But you think you felt Quen put a little bit of pressure on your shoulder for a second, and you heard something about north.
Would I have been able to see the door move from where I am?
So from where you are, you would have seen the door open a little bit and then close quickly.
Big enough for Quentin to squeeze through?
Hard to say from your angle.
Well, Devonay isn't doing too hot, so I'm still in range. I left a Volta in the other room, I guess. So I'm going to try to talk to a Volta and get him to fly through the room to the east and try to dodge maybe the air elemental, but just, keep on going. Maybe fly through the bars if he can. Just to get attention, and I'm going to try going back down the hallway as he does that.
Okay, so you're trying to have a Volta, literally draw the elemental away?
Well, yeah, or at least get its attention so it's not paying attention to the west side of the room.
Oh, okay. So let's see here. So go ahead and we'll say make a stealth check for yourself.
Alright.
And then...
I would like to use inspiration because...
Oh, okay. And don't forget, this week Devonay has the nat 20. I just looked at the overlay.
So I don't have inspiration then.
That's right, you don't have inspiration, you have the nat 20.
So I'll stick with my 12 then.
Okay. So, and...
I gift you my inspiration. Can I do that?
Sure, why not?
Okay. I've been
Great.
nothing.
So, and then how is Avalta trying to get this thing's attention?
Basically, I'm assuming he's still in the other
Yeah,
room
right
with the
now,
cushions?
Avalta's right on the, basically right where Fanthasa was when you conjured the ice
Okay.
wall.
So fly down the hallway and then basically straight at the air elemental and then through. See if you could fly through the bars. Maybe
Okay.
I'm not sure how wide there. He's a
Yeah,
tiny
it's
creature,
a good.
so
Yeah, it's a good couple of. There's an opening at the bottom, worst case scenario. So it is likely that a Avalta can get through easy enough.
so then just fly around that room and squawk
okay.
and I don't know, be
So
conspicuous.
as Avalta swings around the corner and flies in, as you're looking back and forth and preparing to move, immediately you can feel the wind start to pick up. As it
I'm
seems
not-
this creature has noticed Avalta flying at it.
And
Uh,
I'm not looking back, I'm running into
Okay.
I'm just ducking into the room again.
So do me a favor, make a dexterity save for Avalta. As literally Avalta is flying into what accounts to a tornado. Okay. So as Avalta manages somehow to just sort of squeak through and starts to dive under the bars and fly into the other room, this elemental whips its arms around and starts to bring them down on top of Avalta. As Avalta is trying to get out of its range. So we are going to have it make a slam attack here. And that's a nat 1. Somehow,
It doesn't hit.
this thing can't find someone hiding against a wall and cannot hit a bird flying through it.
we got the elemental.
As Avalta flies in and is now buzzing around in that room, it has now got its attention on Avalta.
Yeah, so Devina is just gonna, as soon as action happens, she doesn't even look to see what the air elemental does. She just goes into the room.
Okay. That will bring us, we have none of those on here, and that brings us to the air elemental. So the air elemental, now dealing with a little flappy flying monstrosity, is going to use its movement to enter into the room. And as it's watching Avalta basically just flying every which way up, down, it is going to make both of its attacks trying to knock Avalta out of the air.
All right.
First one is an 11.
No.
Second one is another 9. This is the
only
worst
13.
elemental ever. Avalta has like
Maybe we would have been okay fighting it.
Avalta has like a hit point, and this thing can't kill it.
It's 1d4 minus 1, so yeah.
It could have 0 hit points, you know. So with that brings us back over to Solaren.
Alright, so the orange glow is still in this chamber here,
Yep, it's still.
and Solaren knows now that Raznasai is not in that chamber. I don't know where he went, but
Yeah, as you turned and looked around the corner and came down a couple of spots and looked in, you don't see him anymore.
Right. Let's see. So I did see, Solaren did see one Yuan Ti when he peeked around the corner.
Yeah, so when you peek around the corner, you see that there's one just sort of standing up, not really at attention, but it's just standing there, the weapon down, resting on the ground to its side. There was another one, I think you went down further enough, there was one other one that looked like it had been injured a little bit during your and Solana's battle with them. That was a little further to the north, sort of sitting on the steps leading up to Raz's throne. Rosnasai's
Okay.
throne.
So Slarin, he turns the corner and approaches. Oh, and he sees Rosnasai as he turns the corner. So he's so he stands here.
And as you turn and look at Roz, he's holding straight out pointed at you a longsword that is currently burst into flames.
Okay.
Hasn't made a move, is just pointing it forward.
Alright. So Salarin he holds his hand up and it's crackling with arcane energy. And he Rosnasai stares him down. And says, Look at this chamber. Look at all the corpses we left behind. Stand down. You don't want to face us.
Go ahead and make an intimidation check. Righty then. And that's all you're doing?
Do I see any sort of reaction?
You're not sure yet. His is somewhat difficult to read because
Okay.
his face is so thoroughly bandaged. His hand, you don't notice anything visible that you can tell. Like, it's not like his hand holding the sword is all of a sudden shaking.
Right, okay.
He's still got the hand pointed out. The sword, it seems to be held fairly
Okay, so in that
fairly steadily.
in this instant, I will use Dark One's blessing, or Dark One's
Oh, okay.
unlock. Excuse me. So get the add 1d10 to that roll. Oh my gosh.
Alrighty then. So we will see what happens when Roz comes around. And that will bring us off to Fenthasa again. And let's see, what is she gonna do now? Let's see. Okay, that was. I don't think that's in here for me to actually click on. So give me a second. Let me just check. Okay, so no, that's not in here. So as you guys, Quen, you notice this immediately. Actually, Devne, you've run away, so you would not notice this at all. Quen, you start to hear this strange, it almost sounds like something screaming in pain coming from the other side of the door. And that will bring us to you. And you are muted.
Quen will sit down on the ground and like off to the side of the hallway and will kick the door open.
Okay. So do me a favor, go ahead and make a stealth check. This is just going to be a straight roll because this is a I guess I'll phrase it more of a violent action.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Wow. Okay. So as you kick the door open, you manage to see this bolt of arcane energy that had been lancing from Fenthasa's hand into this strange flame-colored lizard. As the effect ends, the creature whimpering on the ground. And two other Yuan-Ti standing on either side of the stone basin. And you immediately hear that same barking tongue from immediately behind the door as you've kicked it and it swung open literally to 90 degrees as somebody behind the door caught it. So you know that there's at least one other behind the door that Quen currently cannot see. But all of them are staring at the door, somewhat confused, as none of them can see you.
And, I didn't see which way Devaney or the air elemental went, right?
Nope, you were currently up listening to the door.
Yeah, okay.
You can tell that the wind behind you has died down a little bit. And as you turn and look, you really don't see anything. But likewise, you don't see Devaney anymore either.
There's only a couple ways that Devaney could have gone.
Yeah.
Left or right.
And Devaney is large.
Really. So Quen is gonna, after doing that, he's gonna move from to the side of the door. Since he kicked open the door.
Oh, okay. And as you start moving that way, you can see that the air elemental is inside that. You can see the just swirling vortex just inside the gate, and it is frantically swinging left and right. It's hard to get a good shot at what it's swinging at. It's this just massive whirling vortex. But you can definitely see there's something going on in that prison room.
Something's going on in there, and I don't like it.
And that will bring us back to the top of the order. But before we jump back into panel, we're going to take a quick 3 to 5 minute break to top off our drinks, stuff like that, as we're a little over our halfway point for this evening. So thank you very much for hanging out with us. Ink, thank you. I saw your chat in there, or your comment in there a little earlier. We will be back shortly and find out when and if our party finds a way to get themselves back together. As at the moment, they are splintered all over the place, and it's hard to know what's going to happen. So we will be back shortly. Thank you again, everyone, for hanging out, and we'll be back. everyone. A little quicker than anticipated this evening, but we are all back, so we are going to jump right back into the top of the initiative order with Paddle, who is currently standing next to this sizzling, bubbling pool of green liquid, has managed to procure a brass key off of a strange, mold-covered, somewhat misshapen skeleton. And it is now your go.
I wanna jump the heck over that thing and get out of here.
Oh, okay. Easy enough for you to sort of, tiptoe through the one or two spots to make your way out.
Okay. 5:10. 5:30. Whoa! Oh my goodness.
So as you're coming back to this point, go ahead and make a perception check for me.
Okay. Oh.
It is a lovely, calm night on the river. Or day. You're inside, you got no clue what time of day it is.
It's wonderful.
Okay, so
All
whereas
right.
movement, you've got action, bonus action.
Can I just bonus action hide for right now?
Sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead and make a stealth check for me.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. So you hide as well as you think you can. And that will bring us back up to Raz, who has just been threatened by Solaren. And Solaren, as you are looking at him closer, he is slowly, the lower body starts to undulate as he starts to slither and move towards you. There seems to be no fear in his face whatsoever. As he looks and he goes, and as you watch as he pulls back with the sword, immediately he stops for a split second, and it's almost too late when you start to see his tail whip around towards you as he is attempting to constrict you. That is a 24 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
Okay, so you take
Oof.
12 points of bludgeoning damage,
IGG.
and you are now grappled.
Oh.
And are you still with us?
Barely, but yes.
As he looks at you and sees you, bleeding, sort of, you watch as he turns the sword a different way and reaches out with the pommel and proceeds to strike down at the top of your head with the pommel.
Oh.
It seems like he is not attempting to kill you, but render you unconscious.
Still a little overkill. Still a little
I mean, his
So,
sword
yikes.
is on fire.
Oh, that's...
true.
Okay, so because you are considered grappled even by him, he does have advantage. So that is a 21 to hit.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not treated as a 1D, as a D6. Okay. So you take 5 points of bludgeoning damage to the top of your head.
Okay. I am barely grasping to life here.
He has 3 attacks, so see if you are still up, he brings it back down in your face again.
Oh god.
And that's a 20.
That'll hit.
Okay, and that is 7 points of bludgeoning damage.
And that'll topple me over, and I collapse.
Okay, so you are unconscious, but you are stable. You do not need to make saving throws.
Okay.
And you are now laying unconscious. He just lets go of you, so you are laying right there as he is now right up in front of you. And without aid, you will awaken with 1 hit point in 4 hours.
All right.
Yes, let us rip the objects of hearing out of one's ear. So, if no one aids you, you will awaken on your own in 4 hours
Okay.
with 1 hit point. And that will bring us as Solarin crumples to the ground unconscious. That brings us to Devonay, who is currently hiding on top of a rather cold, crushed Yanti corpse.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I didn't know if the wind thing was gonna rush down the hallway after me or not, so I went around the corner in the room. But I am doing my best to listen to see if anything else happens. Can I hear anything over the wind?
Go ahead and make a perception check, 'cause it's really not as windy down by you. So, yeah, as you sort of turn into the room and you're listening, you hear what sounds like a pretty solid sound of something hitting wood. And then nothing. You just hear, again, that distant sound of the wind.
I am going to, if I need to stealth again, I will. I'm going to peek out of the room, looking down the hallway.
No, we can leave your same stealth roll unless you want to re-roll it again. That's up to you.
No, I think it was okay. So I'm just going to peek down the hallway to see
So as you peek down
if
the
I
hallway,
can see anything.
You can see a swirling vortex off in the distance, frantically flailing about. But that's about it.
But that's good. I'm gonna stay where I am and sort of, still keep an ear out for developments. Is that wood sound? I don't know. It's different.
Okay. So that will bring us over to this group. Let me just double check here. What are their special little fun things here? Okay. So. Let's see, this thing is going to need a couple of quick rolls here. Okay, so actually, Quen and Devonay, both go ahead and make a perception check for me. Okay, so actually you both managed to hear what happens next. So let me just see how this is going to play out. Solana, do me a favor, roll 3d20. Let's see here. Let's hope you have what I'm looking for. Come on. Alrighty then.
It's either good they're all low, or bad if they're all low.
I'm just gonna say, of course you don't have what I need, so we're going to just trying to find a character sheet that has the thing I'm looking for. Okay. Oh. Okay, well it'll help. Really? You don't have it either. Okay, so we're just gonna have to search it up. None of these, they give me a spell to use and nobody has it on their sheets. Okay, so none of you really know what happens, but in terms of what's causing this. But immediately you start hearing coughing and retching coming from within the room. as something happens, and over a couple of moments, the sound just grows weaker and weaker and then just stops. And that will bring us over to our
I think
air.
I just killed someone, guys.
And that will bring us back over to the air elemental, who is still having some sort of a fit in the prison room. And now getting mad enough. Quen, you notice this immediately. The wind in that prison room, it starts to pick up into a fevered pitch. You can feel it getting faster. It's now even starting to pull at your clothes through the other room. You can hear the sounds of metal as chains and bits of things are now being flung throughout the room. Devanay, I need you to make a strength saving throw for Revolta.
Oh dear. Would that just be strength?
Yep.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, if it doesn't have a specific thing on the character sheet saying strength save, that's just a simple
17.
strength roll.
Oh boy.
Unfortunately,
Yeah,
a
so
6
minus
is
3
not.
to strength.
Yeah, that 6 unfortunately is not gonna cut it. So, as do me a favor, Sarah, roll a d8 for me.
I don't
Oh, no,
wanna
this isn't
kill
what you think.
Revolta. I'm killing Revolta.
No, you're just deciding which way Revolta gets thrown.
Oh.
Okay.
So we
There we
just
go.
poof.
Hey! Guess what, Quen? You watch as a small avian creature comes flying through the bars. And as you hear a sickening thud, let me see here. Just want to make sure. I really don't even need to roll the damage for this, but just because.
And it has to be more than 3.
Okay.
Ooh.
So, as you watch as this form, and it's literally as Avalta's trying to fly and this whirlwind picks up, Avalta gets thrown back away from the creature, slams into the bars, and as the wings are shoved forward, you watch as this very small form, Quen, comes flying by, and as it's in the air, passes in front of you and then just fades into nothing.
No, Volta.
And then you watch as the wind still picking up in the room that you're in, as the elemental starts to come back into the room. And that's going to end its turn, and that will bring us to Solern, who is unfortunately unconscious now. Fanthasa, who is now that the door is wide open, hearing the wind going on, walks over to the doorway, and then in a somewhat confused, and how did you get out? Well, seeing you're here, find all of them, kill them all. And that is it. And that will bring us to Quen.
So did I see and hear Fantaza?
You can hear her call out as she's raising her voice. So you hear her call out to this creature to find them all and kill them.
Okay. Cool.
Currently, it doesn't seem to have noticed you, but
Yeah. Okay. Don't think I can get in there.
as you're sort of peeking in, you can see that the sort of fire lizard you were seeing. You can see the head laying limp behind Fantaza.
I killed the fire lizard. Gosh. Okay. I guess I'm just gonna try and make my way to Devonay. I just moved past them, and now I'm hiding right here.
Okay. That will bring us back along to paddle.
Alright, well, I'm gonna get back up beside that boat and keep going because I don't like where this little thing has led me, so.
Okay. So as you get back in and start kicking away.
5. 15. Guess I'll make it here at roughly about that.
Yeah, give or take.
Yeah.
Okay, so as you are slowly meandering your way again, you're not hearing it. You do see a little bit of light coming from somewhere on the left-hand side. So as you're looking off in the distance, you can see there looks to be a small island a little ways up there with some pretty substantial column reaching up towards the ceiling on it. But you can tell that there's at least some sort of opening up ahead that's allowing light to cascade out in.
Okay. Yeah. That's it.
Okay. So that'll bring us over to Masai, who is currently up here and is going to use his full movement. To actually, he is going to drag Solarin with him. And well, Solarin doesn't know what's happening, but a couple of seconds later, as Solarin is carried towards a
Do I know what's happening? Can I still see?
No, I don't believe so. I think you're literally just stone.
Oh, bummer.
But as he drags him away, all of a sudden, Devonay, you hear noise behind you.
Oh boy.
And as you turn your head around, you see Masai with an unconscious Solarin currently wrapped in his tail. A couple of some very large looking knots and swelling on the left side of his face. As Oz appears in the room and somewhat roughly dumps Solarin in front of you. Looks at you and says, "One of yours decided to try and kill me after we made our deal."
Well, it's too bad for him, I guess, then.
Oh.
Where is Fenthassa?
So what I've been able to hear down the hallway as she made her speech
Yeah,
to the
you both
Aerodon
heard.
Elemental. So I'd say, well, there's an elemental on the loose, and she's down the hallway that way.
Okay. Let's see, where'd you go? Check what he's got. So, as you watch, as he sort of pushes past you a little bit to put himself out into the hall, and as he pushes past you, he says, Suppose if I don't help you, it will never get done. And he reaches out and points down the hall. And let's see here. This thing is going to make a Constitution save. So, Sarah, do me a favor, roll me a d20 plus 2. Come on, roll 20. Roll 8d8. As Raz Nasai has just fired off. And Quen, you aren't hearing, you don't really hear him. You can hear a little bit of noise from around the corner, but all of a sudden you watch as this strange crackling beam of necrotic energy comes flying down the hallway past you and slams into the side of this elemental. And you watch as this thing reels back and is now focusing all of its attention down the hallway towards where you're pretty sure Devaney went.
Bitch.
That spell was a little unsettling as it went past you. You've never seen Devaney do anything necrotic before. You've seen her use cold magic, but that you're not really sure where that came from or what's going on with that.
Wow, that was a whole different side of Chult.
And that'll bring us to Devaney.
Solarin looks like he's breathing and not unconscious.
He's unconscious. He's completely out.
I mean,
but he doesn't
like,
look like
not
he's in
dying.
danger. Looks like he's
Okay,
been
'cause-
beaten until, he got the gizzard treatment. Let's beat him until he goes to sleep.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of too. So seeing that he's not on death's door necessarily, is Rosnasai like right in front of me?
No, he sort of
Doesn't do-
pushed his way past you, reached out with a hand, fired off his one spell, and then backed away. It doesn't seem like he's willing to put himself out in front. But he has said he would help.
So I'm gonna move myself just so I can see what I can see, because I would peek my head around the door again.
Yeah, so as you're peeking around the door, you can see, you watch as this necrotic energy is still sort of cascading off the body and being flung off by the force of the wind circling around it.
And I would like to land a fireball, but place it like right in front of the dungeon door, or I don't know, the jail.
Oh, okay.
So it would just hit the elemental and maybe the door.
Well, go ahead and make a perception check. Because right now you have no idea where in the room that Quen is. Quen's still invisible.
I don't. But I'm hoping that he's not anywhere in that area.
Because last you knew, Quen was at the door. Okay, and Quen, go
Well,
ahead and
I
make a
sorta-
stealth check for me.
Sorta new.
Oh, we think. We'll find out in a second. Oh yeah, you can, as you're looking, you can see as the wind is blowing things around, you can notice that it's not much, little flecks of dirt and little bits of, almost like little shreds of wood, and you notice that all of a sudden one just sort of gets stuck and hangs in midair for a second.
There's like the void in the wind, sort
A
of.
little bit, yeah. But it never lasts long. It's not obvious. It just sort of, you see it for a split second and you just happen to catch it for a moment. So yeah, got a pretty good idea where Quen's hiding at the moment. So go ahead and,
So then I'm land my fireball over there.
yeah, go ahead and make your roll. he's got to make a dexterity save, right?
I believe so.
Okay. He does succeed on his dexterity save. But he is going to take half damage from that. Okay, you can definitely see the winds are starting to slow down a little bit.
And I'm still not in the hallway.
Oh, and then you're ducking right back into the door, so to speak?
Yeah, I sort of, stuck my head out, cast using that wand, and then ducked back in.
Okay. Then that will bring us over to the Yanti again. Who, now that they can see there's fireballs exploding in the room, there's necrotic energy, they know something's up out there. So they are now starting to actually come out of the room. And let's see what they can see as they come out. I keep ripping things up my ears. Okay. So these are 3. Okay. So as they come out, this one's going to come out and start getting right over here. Comes out over here. And at the moment they can't see anything, so they are all going to just make a perception check to try to see if they can figure out what's going on here. I'm not going to click and wait for those to roll, so just roll and add their modifier in afterwards. Okay. So, Quen, as you were currently ducked down in that room, one of them walks past you, doesn't seem to notice anything. The other two that come in afterwards, as you're sort of, sitting there, very bated breath, the other two are looking right where you're hiding with a very sort of cockeyed little like, what in the... But that's the end of their turn at the moment. The air elemental still has no idea where you are, but it knows where it just got shot from. So it is going to head back down that way towards where Devaney is. And as it comes to the room, actually it's going to... Okay, so it doesn't recharge its ability. But as it gets to the room and it sees you standing in the doorway, Devaney, it's going to take 2 swipes at you.
Alright.
First one is a 26.
That will hit.
Okay, so that is 15 points of bludgeoning damage. So it winds up and swings again, 23.
That will also hit.
And that is 11 additional points of bludgeoning damage.
Well, 7A's still up, but just barely.
And that will bring us to Fenthasa.
Oh boy.
She is coming out now. And she is going to circle around, keeping back away from the action a little bit, and seeing that the air elemental seems to have found something to, she's just going to hang back and watch at the moment. And that will bring us to Quen. Quen, you can see these 2 creatures looking at you. It looks like they haven't had a chance to say anything as of yet, but you just watched Fenthasa walk into the room as well. And the air elemental, you can hear it, the wind picking up in the background behind you. I think you're muted again.
I'm gonna try and hide while being invisible, so
Okay, yeah. So, but where are you going to try to hide? Because you won't be able to hide right where you are because they're already looking at you, looking at that spot. So where would you be moving to try to hide in the room?
I mean, like, I would like, so like, if I'm like standing with my back against the wall, then I want to like just like make myself smaller, like sit down on the ground, and just like take up less like.
You can certainly
Base?
try.
Okay.
It's so go ahead and make your stealth check. Okay. So we will see how that pans out once they come around again.
Okay.
So that brings us back down to paddle.
Oh boy. Let's see here. I want to see if I can make it to. Yep. I'm gonna try and settle up all the way over to this little thing, like kind of like tucked in behind here.
Oh, okay.
And I can see something, but
Yep. So
Not much.
as you're sort of pulling up in the boats, we're just gonna have them. Do me a favor. Go ahead and make a stealth check for me.
oh,
Okay. Let's see. Oh, not bad. So yeah, as you're paddling your way up, you can see that there do seem to be a couple of Yanti in the room on the other side of the what you think was at one point a doorway. But you
Oh.
can see remnants of burning little bits of wood. Looks like something hit that door with a lot of force. But no one seems to be paying much mind to the door at the moment. They seem to be all looking in other directions towards the far end of the room.
okay. I'll stick around right here for now.
Okay. That'll bring us back to Nasai up at the top, who is currently dealing with an air elemental with Devaney. And going to grab him. And seeing that that worked well, he's not going to do that. And he is going to do the same thing again. So, Sarah, do me a favor, roll a d20 plus 2. Okay, and roll, just double check the spell itself here. Okay, go ahead and roll 8d8 for me. Okay. So as once more, Devaney, you feel that almost that draining energy as another blast of necrotic energy flies just past your shoulder and slams into this thing. It looks like it's taken a beating. The winds are slowing down a little bit, but it's still up and still in front of you. And that'll bring us back to you.
Well, Devaney really doesn't know if she can try to stab this thing or not. But if she doesn't try to hurt it some way, she's probably going to be down the next time it attacks. But would taking the I'm not sure that's a good idea. Yeah, I'm gonna try to attack it with my swords
Oh, okay.
and slash it in its windiness.
we have a shadow boxer. Let's see what happens. Okay, so that will hit. Go ahead and roll some damage. Okay, so as you swing the scimitar at it, you can feel, it feels like it hit something. You can feel almost like you're, I mean, the best way I can drive is it feels sort of like you're dragging it through water. Or you sort of get a little bit of resistance, but you were expecting more.
Well, let's try it with my upgraded sword and see what happens.
Okay, as you swing the same time, just goes wide. Doesn't seem to make contact with it that time.
Oh dear.
Same with the third attack, you swipe back again, and it seems like it's just barely being able to pull itself out of the way.
Devine has definitely lost a lot of blood by now. She's probably seeing stars. Yeah. That's pretty much everything I can do.
Okay. So we'll bring us back to these T who are currently looking where Quen, well, last they had an inkling that somebody was there. So let's see how they do as they're so as they start barking back and forth with each other, and you can see Fenthas is starting to sort of notice that something's going on here. The first one is going to see if it can find anything at all as it starts. As it starts wandering around looking. Doesn't find anything. The second one, really not sure what to do, is going to. Let's see. Do me a favor, Sarah. Roll me a D100. I'm gonna see whether or not. Two things it's going to do, so. Okay. So as the first one starts wandering around and looking around the room, Quen, trying to see if it can find you, it doesn't seem to be having much luck. You watch as the second one of them, just looking at that same general area that you are, sort of reaches up, grabs its throat a little, wanes back, and just and spews a massive cloud of green mist towards the area where it last saw you. I need you to make a Constitution saving throw. It doesn't know where you are, but it is just spitting a cloud of poison in that general area.
Let me know if this is a try or not, but does the presence of that air elemental do anything to affect that?
Sure, I'll say go ahead and you can have advantage on the throw. It's blown it around a little bit, so it's not quite as condensed.
Doesn't.
Unfortunately, doesn't help. But okay. And I've forgotten. These guys, for whatever reason, do not have the spell prepped. Okay. Okay. That is 17 points of poison damage.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
And that will bring us back over to the air elemental. The third Yanti is just sort of standing on the other side of the air elemental, not willing to go push into this thing. So this air elemental is still dealing with with Devine. So we got a couple of slam attacks coming. First one is a 15.
No, and Devine will put up her shield spell. Her very last spell.
And next one is a 15.
No, she didn't need it, but
That will bring us back over to Fanthaza, who sees that the air elemental is starting to look a little worse for wear, and that things aren't necessarily going great over in that area. What do we have? Doesn't have much you can do, or she can't see. Sure she does. So as oh no. Yeah, no, actually she's not going to do anything. She's waiting. That's going to bring us to Quen.
Yikes. Okay, Quen's gonna tiptoe over here next to Fanthaza, actually. If I'm just like using my passive perception, like, do I see her holding a cube of any sort?
You don't see anything being held out in the open. She may have it on her person, but you'd actually have to go like looking on her person to find it. You
Okay.
It's not like the other guy where it was just sort of like sticking out up top. It's if she's got it, it's hidden on her somewhere.
Okay, so I want to steal whatever, like, pouch or purse or a bra pocket that is there. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Rummage through her boot.
Yeah, her high-heeled shoes.
Okay, so go ahead and make a sleight of hand check.
Oh.
Not bad. Okay.
Pretty good.
So you managed to remove from Fanthasa's person a decent-sized pouch, probably a little bit larger than a small handbag.
Okay. Cool.
Like it's not one of those handbags you take out on a Friday night, but it ain't the one that you bring to the beach that has the chair, the kids, 10 beers.
Yeah.
One of those things you might get a wallet, pair of
A
glasses.
tote bag. She's got a tote bag.
Not even that large.
Okay, deal. Do I know what's in it?
No, it would take another action to search through it. But as
Okay.
you're looking from where you are, let's see, 5, 10, 15, 20. Oh yeah, that's most of your movement to get across the room. So your movement's 30, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So as you're over there, as you've grabbed that and you're sort of looking around a little bit, Fanthaza hasn't noticed anything, but as you look to your right back into that sort of prison room, you can see that the gate is up and there's about a 2.5 foot space at the bottom. You could potentially sort of belly flop and crawl your way in there if you wanted to.
Okay.
Or, if you have
yeah.
other skills. Oh, but that would make you not invisible, so forget the DM suggested anything.
Well, hey, you know what? Hold on. 5, 10. So I'm gonna take the purse and I'm gonna hide it like under my coat so that it's invisible too.
Yeah. Well, I assumed you wouldn't be like out floating around.
Yeah, like, hey, lady, look at this. Nah, I'm not that obvious about it this time. But yeah, so I take that. Yeah, and I try to make myself scarce against the wall.
So go ahead and make a stealth check for me while you're there. And then we'll jump down to Paddle. So Paddle, you are hanging out down south on a very nice river. Some snake folk in there.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys are having so much issue with. This is like a nice kind of like lull down the... No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna kind of kick the boat behind this pillar here. Let's see. Actually, no. No, I want to find out what's there. So never mind. I'm gonna sneak around back this thing.
Okay.
Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna keep heading up.
Okay. So are you bringing the boat around with you, I'm assuming, or are
Yeah,
you just leaving
yeah.
it? Okay.
I'm bringing the boat. I don't have the shield.
Okay, so that brings us back along to
There.
the current leader of these people, who is doing everything in his power to aid, as the people he sicked after Fanthasa, he does not seem to have much faith in at this point. And you'd have no. Hold on for a second, as he knows his area. Yeah. Okay, so Raz has decided he has had enough, and he is going to try to do what he can to end this once and for all. Devanay, you feel this body moving towards you again. You notice as he's slithering forward, he just sort of shoves Solarin's unconscious body into one of the bleeding, broken Yanti corpses. Pushes you a little bit into the wall.
Maybe we just get out of the way.
As he points into the room, you hear an incantation you are very familiar with. You've heard Quen use it quite frequently. As he starts to mutter, and you watch from the tip of his finger as a small glowing red ember starts to ignite. As he reaches and points into the room where Fanthasa is currently standing, aiming at the altar itself. I need all of them and Quen to make a dexterity saving throw. As he is attempting to remove any and everyone that he is having issues with.
Except the air elemental right in front.
No, where he's aiming at, he will hit every single person in that hallway in the room.
Oh, I see.
He's literally slamming it right into the side of the altar, which will fill that room, as well as into the hallway into the air elemental.
Okay, well, I can't see, so I can't count squares.
Yeah, he knows his lair, and he is aiming to hit just, quite literally, just perfectly in order to make sure he can try to wipe, as much to try to aid you, as he's got no clue where the other one he sent with you has disappeared to. And with that, Quen, as you're in there and you've just grabbed this and you've ducked it into your bag, all of a sudden you watch as you see this tiny speck of red energy flying towards the altar. And with a split-second moment of panic, you realize what's about to happen as a massive and paddle. Even you can hear this at your distance. As the force of this explosion
Gulp.
radiates out and is trapped in that room. As this hits, and that is the wrong thing, Devanay, you can feel the heat blast by your face. The air elemental vanishes with a shriek. You can hear... Actually, do me a favor, Sarah, can you roll 4d20 for me? I'm going to take a... Never mind. They all fail. So...
R.I.P. Gwen.
I'm just unconscious.
Yeah, it's not enough. Quinn, aren't you at like 44 or 45 hit points?
Yeah, I have 44 hit
Yeah.
points max.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so Quinn is unconscious. You are technically bleeding out, but...
Yeah.
And you are also now visible, but we'll get to that in a moment. I don't really think Fanthas is concerned with that at the moment, given the massive explosion that just shot out from the right. And all of these other individuals have taken a rather substantial chunk of damage. And Quen, as this fireball goes off, and it actually hits Fanthasa a couple of seconds before it hits you, you actually watch as she drops to one knee. You can tell she is in very bad shape. And as you have that split-second thought, immediately the force hits you and you slam into the wall and start to slip into unconsciousness. And that will bring us to Devanay.
Oh boy.
They got me, gal.
And you have a pretty good idea that Quen was still in that room when that just went off.
Yeah, there's not very many exits. But I have a lot of other things to worry about before I can even get to where I think Quen is. Unfortunately. I'm gonna peek my head out again. I don't know where
So as it-
if Ross
as you
has
sorta-
retreated.
Yeah, he's moving forward enough to get his arm out and do what he's doing, and then pulling himself back. You can see he is definitely retreating. He is using you and
Like a
others
shield?
as a shield. You would definitely get that feeling from him, because he is only pushing enough of him out to cast whatever enchantment he needs, and then he's pulling all the way as far back into the room as he can get.
Alright. So if I peek my head out, I can see 4 people.
You can see a total of 5. You see,
Oh, and Quen.
right, you see a bunch of Yanti just, little bits of flame and smoke licking off them. The Yanti themselves, I guess we'll call them the half-breeds, one that look like they're part human and part snake, with the top half of a snake, seem to look like they're hurt, but they're not too bad. Fanthasa, on the other hand, in the back, looks rough. You can see she's just starting to get up. She was down on one knee for a couple of seconds.
Alright, I know what I want to do, I just don't know if I can do it. I would like to use White Ice Wall again and sort of zigzag it to pass through each of the people I can see, except Quen's square, I guess.
Okay. And that's it. You can do that for, it's 10-foot panels, right?
Yeah, and so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah,
6,
you've
7,
easily
8,
got enough space
9.
to do that.
So it would block off that doorway a little bit, but I just want to hit everybody that I can see,
Okay.
except Gwen.
Go ahead and roll, and that's, you said Constitution, right?
Let's find it.
Nope, Dex. Okay.
Dex.
So, Solana, do me a favor, roll me 4d20 again.
26.
We're putting Sarah to work as best we can, unfortunately, as third party has still not been able to save her. And holy crap. Let me just double check. This is,
And if I have the extra bit, I'm not sure what I would do with it. Maybe just extend it
oh, okay. Let me just double check here.
on Quinn's side a little bit.
Okay, so only one of them is gonna save. Unfortunately, it is the one smack dab in front of you. So that one's gonna take half damage. Okay, so that is
3 ones. That's the time I needed it to roll high, and I rolled 3 ones.
okay. And as you sort of peek your head around, you watch as the wall forms. So at this point, they literally can't get to you. They're just sort of... Well, actually, the ones who are...
Depends which way they were shoved, I guess.
Well, the lucky part for you is you duck your... Well, actually, as you cascade, you have no idea what happens. Because now the wall has now sealed off that area. So we'll find out eventually what happens.
Eventually.
As that will bring us to their go. And first one here is immediately you start hearing this sort of hacking and banging on the ice wall right next to you. So you know at least one of them, the closest one to you, is still up, and it is starting to make, starting to hack at the ice wall itself. And that will hit. That will hit. Okay. So it is hacking away at the ice wall in front of it. And that is all you know at the moment. Okay, that'll bring us back to... Okay, all of them will do their thing. Okay, Gwen, I need to ask you to make a death saving throw for me. Okay, that is one fail. That brings us to Paddle.
So where did I feel / hear / a little bit of both that blast from? Like what direction?
So it's hard for you to tell exactly where it came from. Go ahead and make a perception check though, because there are openings all throughout this complex.
Mm.
You know there's the open door. You heard it a little from the south. You heard a little from the north.
Okay.
With that perception, you get the sensation from how quickly the sound got to you that it was somewhere from the interior of the complex. It didn't really get to you quick enough. Like, it didn't get to you from the north, like 5 seconds before the bottom.
Yeah.
So you know it's sort of echoing around within the area. So you don't think it's real close to you.
Okay.
But you can tell it was definitely a massive boom.
All right. Gross. I'll keep going
Okay.
because I can see light up there, so I might as well head towards that.
Yep. So easy enough as you continue on. You can see that same sort of glowing, pulsing green light that you've seen through all the different torches throughout.
Okay. And I'm gonna stay there for now.
Okay. So that will bring us back to Nasai, who's gonna, again, sort of roughly sort of shove past you, turn his head and look at the massive wall of ice, and then look back at you, Devaney, and go, well, is it done?
Sorry, what was that?
Nasai just looks at you and asks if it is done.
Oh, I heard somebody banging on it.
And how do you propose we deal with him with that in the way?
Well, once he breaks through, it will do him more damage.
And he just sort of shrugs and...
Take a breather. Chill out.
Which brings us back to Devaney.
Devaney is going to. I would like to ready a cantrip.
Okay.
I'm not sure which one, but depending on how close a guy gets, if they come over and break through the wall. And then she's going to reach in her pack and grab a piece of jerky, whatever the recent thing we killed was, and start chewing on it. She's feeling a little dizzy.
Okay, so as you're gnawing on random critter meat.
Snake, alligator, I don't know.
So you guys have killed enough and, left it sitting in the bag of holding for a couple of weeks, and I think you jerkied most of it, so.
Yeah. It's definitely jerkied.
So that'll bring us back over to them, who once more are going to start hacking away at their ice prison. Okay, so yes, that's another. Okay, I'm just gonna roll for them all like that. No, okay, so that's. Yes. Okay. That brings us back around to Paddle again. Oh wait, actually, I'm sorry, Quen, I need you to make another death save for me. Okay, one
Hey!
save, one fail. Okay.
Okie dokie, here we go. Gonna make it up here, I guess. And just like kick the boat somewhat onto the land or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So as you get the boat onto land, and the first thing you notice as you're stepping up there and sort of looking around is that there is a corpse of one of those snake people laying on the ground, particularly nastily carved up. As you're also sort of turning and looking around, there's a very strange statue off on the other side of the river, just to the north.
Yaha. Okay.
Looks like a humanoid figure, sort of curled back, hands trying to go up in front of the face.
That's reassuring.
Don't blink.
I'll send you back in time.
Guess I'll keep a little bit forward just to take a look. Oh, I can't really see much from there. So many.
And so as you poke in, the room seems to be empty. You see a couple of more bodies on the ground. Actually, you went away earlier too, so.
4, 6, 7. Okay.
So you do see, as you're looking around, there is some sort of doorway that leads up to the north, as well as the long hallway leading back into the interior.
Okay. Well, that's where I heard that big boom, so I'm not too keen on going over there quite yet. I'm gonna just pop here so I can kind of keep an eye on both ways for a little bit.
Oh, okay. That'll bring us back to Masai, who is currently sort of holed up in his Devaney enforced prison. And let me just see what he's got anything on. Devaney, he sort of looks at you for a moment and says, Well, if you're willing, I suppose I could perhaps give you a way to be a little stronger to deal with them.
Yeah.
Should you be willing?
Oh.
Well, I'm feeling pretty beat up, though. A health potion or two would be great.
I do not carry such things on me, but perhaps if you were to take another form.
I once was a bunnycorn and it didn't go over well. What were you thinking of?
Perhaps something of a more reptilian nature. I can do quite well with a large snake.
I've been around large snakes before.
So I take it then that I have your permission.
Would you suggest I take down the wall before or after?
To make it easiest for you, I suppose before would be best. And I
Very
will
well.
be prepared for when you have done it. And he comes right up to the side, right next to you, where you're sort of... I'm just going to leave his token there rather than stack tokens there. And he comes right up next to, just slithers right on top of that other corpse. It is right next to you by the door. And he's just waiting for you to drop your concentration on the wall.
Feels good.
And if it's my turn, that's the first thing Devaney will do.
Okay. So as,
Now that she knows what concentration is.
as you hear the wall start to melt and just crack and shatter down, immediately you feel a rather hard shove to your back as you are pushed forward into the hallway, as you feel your body start to elongate. As scales start to force themselves through, as you find your arms fusing to your torso. As with your blessing, Raz Nasai has just polymorphed you into a giant constrictor snake.
Oh boy. Something Devaney has never wanted to be, but now is.
And with that, I don't think that token's gonna... Oh, hey, there it showed up. You are now in the hallway as a giant constrictor snake.
I'm just gonna move myself back here so I can see.
Oh, yeah.
Feels good, man.
Give me a second. So you now have access to a giant constrictor snake in your journal. It'll be under beasts. And as you're shoved out and you form, you find yourself snake face to snake face with one of these Yanti. And as you're looking at this and you see beyond it, you can see Danthasa is lying on the ground, motionless.
Well, my snakiness wants to bite this other snakiness.
Alrighty then. So go ahead and let's get snaky. Okay, let me check here. I don't think that is going to cut it. Double check here. It actually will hit.
Oh, well, there you go.
And as you bite into this, you can feel the blood just pouring out. He is screaming inside your mouth. He is still technically alive at the moment,
It's a really gross
but
description.
barely. Well, you're dealing with a giant snake that just bit the top half of a creature.
His nervous system's still intact, but
Well, it's sort of hard to tell. I mean, you've got him in your mouth, so.
I can only do one bite, right?
Yeah, giant constrictor only has one attack, unfortunately.
All right, yeah. So that's it.
Okay, so that'll bring us to him. And he is actually going to use his act. Let me see if it's an action or a bonus for them to do this. Okay. Actually. Okay, he is going to just try to take 2 swipes at you with this scimitar. That's a 22 and a 22.
Yeah.
It's going to be a total of 15 points of damage from that one. The next 2 are going to sort of come forward and stack up next to the door. And you watch as the both of them lean back with their hands in front of their face and just spew forward this cloud of green mist towards you. I need you to make 2 Constitution saves. Okay. Well, you save on one, you fail on the second, unfortunately. So we have on the first one, we'll just roll one. Okay, so first one you take 2 poison damage as a giant snake. And don't forget to check if the snake has resistance or immunity. And then the second one, you take 21 points of poison damage.
Ouch.
So that's a total of 23 points poison damage, and that ends their go. And that will bring us back around to Quen. I need another death save.
You can do it.
That's 2 safe. 1 more and you are stable and unconscious. That brings us to Paddle.
Alright. I'm on the wrong thing. I'm gonna collect this. I'm gonna go over here. What is this up here? That looks like a chair of some sort.
Yep, so the room you've entered into... Oh, sorry, I forgot you weren't here for the original descriptions of these rooms. So this seems to be what passes for somebody's throne. The pillars, the 4 pillars in the room all have carvings of different snake sculptures and scenes in it. The throne behind it, there's more artwork on the walls. And then you see an opening just to your west that leads into another room that you can hear some fairly labored breathing coming from.
Gross. I'll go that way. Oh, Jesus.
So, as you get a little closer,
There
look,
we
you
go.
can see there seems to be a... Oh, you're in a wall.
I was in a wall for a moment.
Yeah, so as you walk by and sort of glance up to the north, you can see there seems to be a rather badly injured creature just sort of collapsed on the floor amongst a bunch of gold coins.
All right, that's interesting. I like that. That's nice. I'm gonna stay here for now, though.
Okay. So that will bring us back to Masai, who really doesn't have a whole lot more that he can do at the moment, especially not with a giant snake in the way. So he's just going to hold an action in case somehow they manage to deal with you and come looking for him. And that'll bring us back to you.
Which is likely. Alright. As Snake, I am going to do another. I guess I'll just do another bite.
Okay. And that is enough as you slam your jaws down again. And this time, as you pick it back up, there's what's left of him laying on the ground. You seem to cleave most of the upper half of his body off.
I'm going to stay where I am and be menacing as a giant snake can be.
Okay. That will bring us back to them. Who, the one up at the top, is going to actually stay where he's going to grab and push the other one in front of him.
Yeah, I
And-
can see that.
And the other one is going to start swinging with his scimitars because point blank in front of you. So let's see what he can do. That is a 12 and a 12 and let's see what the so it rolled a 5. Let me just see what the modifier is. Oh. So it's same modifiers, yeah. So it rolled a 12 and another 12.
AC is 12.
Okay, so that is another 13. Another 12 points of slashing damage. As it manages to carve into you. Are we still a snake?
Still snake.
Oh. We just lose Solana?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. I'm not sure. Sorry, our cameras are going to be a little messed up. I'm not sure what happened if we lost Sarah for some reason. Just about near the. Oh. I didn't even hear that. Oh. Well, Sarah, if you do happen to catch a recording, I apologize. I didn't have Discord opened up, so I didn't see any of those texts. But yeah, no worries. You know, take care. Life happens. Okay, so that'll bring us back around as they do that. Back to Quen. So we need to have Quen another death save. And unfortunately for Quen, breath starts to leave Quen's body.
Oh boy.
And as we come to the top of the order, I think that's going to be the point we call it for this evening.
Oof.
Wow.
As
Oh my gosh.
the massive toll that the Fane has taken as Quen has appeared to have fallen. Solana is still petrified. The only person who knows about that is currently unconscious. Well, Paddle knows now, but Paddle has no idea who Solana is. Just knows it's a nice statue. have to see what next week brings for our group of adventurers, as Devaney is currently one of the last two standing in
Yeah.
this search. So folks, we will deal with the Nat 20 ourselves during the week. See as we see what next week will bring. Till then, don't forget, folks, when things are happening and things are at their darkest, always remember to add your proficiency bonus when trying to find a way through. We will see you next week.